dreamed about becoming a pilot? Boy, you can make that dream come true at San Diego Flight Training International. We are so excited to welcome San Diego Flight Training International as a new sponsor. You can learn to fly, and you can start the adventure of a lifetime in the heart of San Diego, right at Montgomery Field. Getting started is easy. Give them a call at 858-569-1822. You can learn to fly at SDFTI. Give them a call, 858-569-1822. So, Action Jackson, if Mike gets a pilot's license, will you go up and jump out of an airplane?
I would, but at the same time, I wouldn't.
You and me both. If it's flying, I'm staying in it.
He's a complicated man.
Yeah, I'm not jumping out of a perfectly good airplane.
Why would you?
I wouldn't.
And if I were piloting it, you wouldn't need to.
I might be a little nervous.
Did you see me drive?
That's what I say. I might be a tad nervous.
You've never been off-roading with me yet.
That's even scarier. I watch videos.
All right, so you guys remember Donald Trump?
Yep.
Remember him?
Yep.
So he had a son,
Junior.
Donald Trump Jr., and Donald Trump Jr. is launching a new gun rights group.
Really?
Yeah, it's called the Second Amendment Task Force.
Is he a shooter?
Yeah, big time. So Donald Trump Jr., big supporter of NRA.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Hunting, sport. I believe all his sons are really, really into it, but particularly Donald Trump Jr. I was kind of expecting him, honestly. At one point, I figured he'd join the board for NRA or something, But so this really makes sense that he's doing the Second Amendment Task Force. I think that Donald Trump had a foundational appreciation and understanding, kind of a surface understanding of the Second Amendment, and I know he carried, but I really think it was his son that made really kept him in line and talked about the nuance. That's my impression anyway, because I know Donald Trump's really big. So Donald Trump Jr. is launching a new gun rights group that he says will be a vehicle for fighting against democratic gun control efforts. Quote, the Second Amendment is the whole ball game. It is the freedom that protects all our other freedoms. Unfortunately, the Biden administration and Democrats in Congress are hell-bent on eroding our constitutional right to keep and bear arms. Whether it's nominating a radical gun grabbers to senior positions in the executive branch or pushing anti-gun legislation. That's a quote from Trump Jr. He said the Second Amendment Task Force is entirely devoted to ensuring the left is never successful in disarming American citizens. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's great. I think it's if he can leverage his name and his dad's popularity to actually get something done and get people fired up, I think it's a great thing, because another national type Second Amendment rights group is really something that we need out here. The NRA is having their issues nowadays. And I always thought it was terrible anyway that there's 5 million, I think, members in the NRA.
Yeah.
I mean, that's disgraceful.
It's not enough.
I mean, it really is. I mean, gun owners should be ashamed of themselves. There's got to be 150 million gun owners in this country.
Well, in their
should be able to get more.
But in their defense, are you 100%? Do you think NRA is doing the right thing? All the way across the board?
I'm not going to agree with everything anybody does.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's probably why you don't have as many gun owners joining an organization like that.
Yeah, I don't know, because this isn't a recent thing. I mean, they've
had
had 5 million members for a decade. It's
and they've cited different ways to where they've upset gun owners in general.
They have, yeah, but the reality, I think, in my opinion, Michael could jump in on this one, but we have guns today as private citizens in large part because of the NRA.
In large part because of the NRA.
Whether you agree with them or not.
In large part because of Wayne LaPierre. I know everybody's giving Wayne a bunch of crap right now, and some of it's well-deserved, but I got to tell you, that guy was crucial in the 80s.
I used to interview him all the time. I don't know why we can't get him now, but I used to have him on.
I don't think we want him now.
Yeah, well, I know, but I used to have him on all the time. And no, I agreed with it, but, I have followed the NRA. What do you think, Melissa?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a member, because I had to belong to a club. So that was one of my requirements. So I was like, okay, I'll be an NRA member. And then I had to be when I was an instructor, when I became an NRA instructor for pistol, I had to be an NRA
Well,
member.
yeah.
So, I mean, I've been a member, and there are things that I do agree with, and there's things that I don't. So it's very controversial. And
So
I
the don't side of it, don't you think that's what's keeping the membership kind of at bay? It's like
from what I experience from my gun groups that I belong to, and all my friends who do not support the NRA, yes.
That's my point. It's like AARP. I mean, I refuse to join AARP because of what they do.
Their political stance.
Well, yeah, and
stances.
Yeah. So I'm glad you said that, because that's kind of where my feeling is too. I mean,
And it doesn't seem. And I just want to just clarify. I don't think they're trying to replace the NRA.
No.
It's a very
no.
and it's kind of interesting, and it's a very specific purpose. It doesn't sound like they're going to do lawsuits. It sounds like it's really more of a lobbying effort. It says, quote, "The idea for the group came from our unsuccessful effort to stop a radical anti-gun lobbyist from becoming the head of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms." So they're talking about David Chipman. We had to make sure that the American people knew what was going on, especially with red state Democrats. If they're considering casting an anti-Second Amendment vote, we're going to make sure they feel the pain. Now, the cool thing about that is, usually when people say, hey, we're going to start a new Second Amendment group or any kind of advocacy group, really what they're talking about is raising a bunch of money for attorneys. Now, that's not a bad thing. We got to take them to court,
right.
But what I like seeing is that this is true lobbying. This is educating voters, putting pressure on elected officials, and that's a great idea. It was a great idea 6 years ago when it was our idea.
Well, see, and that's the key, though, because there is so much disinformation or misinformation about there related to guns in this country, and a group that's going to focus on trying to correct that, I think is something really worthwhile that we need to have. Because I mean, now we're going to have a minister of disinformation, which I'll be writing about next week.
You got to listen to her video first.
I'm sure I'll get to it. But it would be nice to have, an organization trying to get the word out effectively to people, because I think a lot of anti-gun people just don't know, and that's the issue. It's some of them are, the leadership I think are hardcore and they're generally dishonest, but I think a lot of the people that show up at gun shows and hold the signs up, so a lot of them don't know, they just don't know, and I think if there's a way to reach out to these people and just educate them a little bit, I think that's a really worthwhile thing. Because, I mean, even, 10 years ago, if you'd have asked me, hey, should we ban assault rifles? Yeah, I didn't know anything. I just said, well, yeah, why do people need those? Because I didn't know. And I think that's a big issue right now. So I think it's a great idea.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how many people sign up for this group compared to the NRA.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to take members or how they're going to do this or what exactly the plans are. They're kind of up in the air. And there are some folks. There was an article on AmmoLand that there are some gun folks that are basically saying, look, we need to keep a close eye on this. Every indicator I've ever seen of Donald Trump Jr. is he's a legit gun guy. It's sometimes it's kind of a double-edged sword with gun owners. We have this healthy dose of skepticism, and then it also it's kind of this we're our own worst enemies too.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of the reason why we have something that's a constitutionally protected right, and we still have to fight and argue about it every day. I think that's a big part of the problem.
Well, truly, but all right, let's keep an eye on it and make sure that he goes the right way. But my fear is that he makes a couple. Look, trust me when I say every organization, every leader, makes a misstep here and there. When they do, if they do, it's not even if, it's when they do, let's make sure that we're there to support them and not just, destroy them and walk away as if we've accomplished something good.
Well, and that's the thing, keep an eye on them. Does that mean, okay, the first thing that happens that somebody doesn't agree with, now it's the end of the world with this thing?
That's what I'm saying. I hope not. I hope that's not the case. Because, man, do we do that.
Yes, we do.
One little nuanced whatever, And I know that it's difficult because when you're out there talking to the public, you're trying to go to where they're at, And when I say they, I mean people that aren't in the gun bubble. So you're trying to go to where they're at. You're trying to use their words and speak on their terms. Meanwhile, you have people on your own side. If you don't use the right terminology, you don't say the exact right thing, then they're ready to absolutely destroy you. You know, well, you're trying to make things easier for the people outside of the bubble to understand and side with you. You know, but meanwhile, you gotta look over your shoulder. We need to have each other's backs, not worry about a knife, coming in your own back. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. I really truly hope he's successful. I like the fact that he's doing something different. I like the fact that it appears to be led by someone who not only is a legitimate gun guy and has an interest in Second Amendment issues, but he's somebody with connections and somebody who knows what they're doing.
Did you say what you were looking at there? Did he mention what's their prime goal, or what's his main philosophy here, or
what's his mission
trying
statement?
to accomplish?
So he didn't really get that detailed, but he said that during the midterms that we're going to see them everywhere. So it sounds like he put an emphasis in the explanation on getting information out there.
Well, that's good though, because you see Joe Biden and the anti Second Amendment folks everywhere. So
everywhere, truly everywhere.
It'll be good to see.
It will. It's not. I mean, something I think that San Diego County Gun Owners has done fairly successfully, and that's mainstreamed the issue. You turn on the news, we're there, where that wasn't the case before. So even that can be enormously effective.
No, I think it is, because again, for too long, I think we've sat on the sidelines, gun owners, collectively, and we've allowed that stuff to happen. We've allowed terms like gun violence and stuff like that to develop, to where now when there's a shooting or something happens, we focus on the inanimate object that the criminal used rather than on the criminal. And it's going to take a bit to undo that, but I mean, we let that happen, I think.
I wonder where he's going to get the funding.
NRA.
And he was involved with the NRA. I know that. But anyway, so that's it.
That's a good topic.
Yeah, Second Amendment Task Force, Donald Trump Jr. Keep an eye out for it.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. You can watch us live every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, right here on our YouTube channel, or if you're in the San Diego area, you can listen to us on 1170 a.m. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform for free. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can help restore and protect the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.